my one up was all twisted. Hello! Welcome to today's Dashcam Diary of a Disabled with me, Chronically Happy. An update on just what I'm up to today. Not too much medical talk, more just socialized talk, and what's a disabled lady like me, veteran doing on a Saturday afternoon? Well, I woke up really early this morning. For some reason, Stormi bit my foot in my blanket. Not like real hard, but like hard enough that I kind of like, hey, ow, baby, what'd you do that for? I don't know what happened. I don't know. I was starting to be in some pain and stuff too. So, I don't know. Maybe she felt like I needed to get up. I don't know. But it's unlike her. I don't know if she saw my foot move or maybe it scared her and she was sleeping and she was just like that. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Anyway, so I've been up since 7:30 this morning. Right now it is 5 minutes, or really 15 minutes till 4 p.m. I'm headed down right now to hang out with my Aunt Stacy on my dad's side of the family. She is house sitting for one of her close friends, and she house sits for all the time. This lady's always traveling. I swear that my Aunt Stacy stays more at her friend's house than she does at her own house. But she does want to get divorced from her husband, so she really does welcome staying away from her house. Not to throw too much of her personal business out there, but yeah, she's not happy with where she's at right now. But I love my Aunt Stacy. She, another trucker, it's my turn. Can I flip and go, please? Jeez, people. I normally don't get annoyed, but I mean, I had two sets of 3 cars go before I did. The one on the right went, the one on the left went, then another one on the left decided to go, and then another one on the right went. I'm like, that's not how this works. You're just going to let me sit here. I'm trying to go straight. Anyways, that's my road rage of the day. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. Anyways, my aunt got me this color changing cup, shaved ice. Pretty tasty. No brain freeze, just my teeth are sensitive. And I'm leaving town right when all the freaking weather is happening. Hearing thunder, and my aunt has already seen lightning. But it was predicted for out here that we were going to be getting this storm that's been sitting off the coast of Oregon. Well, it's moving from south up, and I'm heading south to go visit my aunt. She's in a different town. She's about 24 miles away, so this is a good half-hour video. So, anyways, like how I was trying to say, I'm just going down there. I'm going to go sit in the hot tub with my aunt, enjoy just catching up. She used to babysit me when I was a kid. She used to dress me up and make up. My Aunt Stacy always had the most beautiful long nails. Beautiful nails. She always had naturally long nails. And I used to just be so amazed as a little girl with my Aunt Stacy, I love your nails, Aunt Stacy. So pretty. I'm wearing your doctor. Don't try to self-diagnose if you don't have to. But the majority of the time we do, especially if you have an autoimmune disease. It's just very common together. But there are a lot of similarities between long COVID and post-mast cell activation for sure. It's so weird. And then also for the IgG2, part of that part, and part of my IgG is the part of my immune system that's messed up. And I've had COVID twice too. It's weird. I've had COVID twice. And I do have chronic inflammation. You know, I don't know what COVID turned on, but COVID did do some really jacked up things to my labs this last time around. But I also am in an autoimmune flare right now. It's either my thyroid or it's all part of my tethered cord, my spinal cord being under pressure, and spinal cord injury type symptoms. I mean, it's my spinal cord's affected right now, 100%. Like I cannot see it being anything else. There's no reason why my bulging discs and then this autoimmune problem is happening. My numbers started being off like this a lot right before I had my first surgery. And my numbers are being consistently being off again. And so there's got to be some kind of correlation. Correlation isn't always causation in medical science, and vice versa. Causation, correlation is not always causation. It's just not. But there's so many coincidences and so many correlations that it's just, what is it? There's so much unknown about EDS and mast cell and POTS. POTS has been easier for others to diagnose. POTS is easier to diagnose than mast cell. Mast cell is difficult to diagnose. And then also trying to navigate your food triggers and environmental triggers and all these things for your mast cell and stress and viruses and the load on your body. It creates issues. So I wasn't going to get into all this medical talk either. Whatever. Excuse me. So where I got my color changing cup is I met my Aunt Stacy and my Aunt Lori and her husband Greg. I call him my uncle, but she's been married a couple times. And my mom is so fed up with emotional regulation. She did not have the nurturing nature and the ways that I really needed as a kid. My mom's on the spectrum as well, but she's more of the OCD type, more than ADHD, but ADHD and trauma can turn into OCD, and it has for her. She has major OCD. Some days it's pretty rough. And she's having early signs of dementia, and Alzheimer's, so got brain changes, and so it's going to be a really, really hard life, end of her life, because she's a stubborn woman, and with her OCD and such, it makes her a negative person more times than not, and I see where I get the tendencies from the trauma, from the generational trauma, and there is mental illness on her side of the family. I don't like to use the word mental illness. It's not really an illness, it's just a change in the brain. Different kinds of changes in the brain. There's differences in my brain and my mom's side versus my dad's side, and genetics are fun. But I know for sure my immune system issues came from my dad's side of the family. My Ehlers-Danlos syndrome came from my dad's side of the family. My mom's side of the family has more diabetes, and there's been a lot of death earlier in life on her mom's side of the family due to complications from diabetes, and they do not have very long lifespans on my mom's side of the family versus my dad's. My grandfather unfortunately died before I was born. I never knew my grandfather, my dad's dad. She did remarry and then divorced him after so many years, or maybe he passed, I'm not quite sure. I don't know, I really wasn't around for the step one either. But even with immuno problems and Ehlers-Danlos on my dad's side, and the abnormalities of the spine and the spina bifida type stuff and the tethered cord, that all came from my dad's side of the family. But they're just not as savvy and up to, I don't want to say that they're not smart, because they're smart, but they're just not. It's being on the spectrum. That's all I can say. It's just being on the spectrum, but it's just slightly different. They're all a little bit different. That's all I can say. Which I love them. I love all my family and all my aunts and uncles, except for the way some have treated me at times. And so I don't go out of my way to spend much time with those relatives that, have been too negative towards me on a personal level. Don't treat me like crap for no reason and take it out on me. Because they've got no damn filter at times on my mom's side. But never does my dad's side either at times. They're very social on my dad's side though. They're very social people, and despite being a little neurospicy themselves, it's way more concentrated in my generation and my family, my cousins and such. But my cousins also are not as aware of all the medical issues that are associated with that side of the family because of the different genetics, of course, with their others, either their mom or dad, different, genetics on that. So maybe it offset that Ehlers-Danlos on some of them. I don't know. I can't tell which ones are more neurospicy or not on my dad's side. I don't have as much interaction with my dad's side, with my cousins and such. There's fewer cousins on my dad's side than my mom's side. My mom's side is a lot bigger of a family, and a lot more of them had kids on that side. A lot of my aunts on my dad's side, they had trouble conceiving and having children. So there was a lot of infertility more so on my dad's side, and I think it's because of the immune system issues, the spina bifida, and then the genetics of the malformations of the spine. The because almost all of them have some kind of respiratory issues and asthma and COPD and like chronic but they also refuse to talk about it. My dad's family grew up strictly Catholic, and they're just some things you don't talk about, and that's some of their mentality. And so the lack of information is part of the problem. They're just not as knowledgeable about this stuff, nor did they communicate. But then, like, all of my aunts on my dad's side, they really do flock together. All those sisters on my dad's side, a lot of them are really close, and they speak almost every day to each other, which I appreciate on my dad's side. At least they're willing to, socialize and be open to things. That's why their Neurospicy is different from the other mental health issues that I've seen on my mom's side. A lot of them on my mom's side, my uncles and other men have tried to unalive themselves. Several of the men on my mom's side of the family have tried to do that. There's definitely mental health issues on my mom's side. There's always been a struggle with anxiety and depression on my mom's side. Whereas on my dad's side, they're really open-minded, and the neurospiciness is what makes them even more open-minded. But Catholicism is also very strict, but the girls were not really as held to the standards as the boys on my dad's side of the family. There's 3 boys, and the rest are all girls. So the girls were more prevalent, and there's more girls and women on my dad's side of the family, which there's a lot more issues in women's health than in the men's health. But almost all of them have some kind of respiratory issues. They're all kind of short on my dad's side. My mom's side has more tall, lanky, Marfan syndrome, which is another genetic thing. There were a lot of signs of Marfan stuff on my mom's side of the family. They're signs, but they're not full blown. It's just, I don't know what it is. I can't quite get my finger on what all the metabolic problems are, but it's more metabolic and heart on my mom's side of the family. Metabolic and heart, with tachycardia and AFib and just different heart issues on my mom's side. And I attribute that to being on the Marfan spectrum. Being on the Marfan spectrum is just like EDS is a spectrum. I believe Marfan's is a spectrum too. And I believe Marfan's and spina bifida and all that stuff with the spinal cord abnormalities on my dad's side. If my dad has extra bones on his tailbone, he has an extra one. His dad also had an extra bone on his tailbone. And then the abnormality of the kidney. I had the kidney issues that my dad's mom's sister had. And that is signs of spina bifida and tethered cord issues as well. So the combination of genetics, my mom had 3 miscarriages. She had trouble conceiving, and it's because of the genetics. The genetics did not mix well with Marfan and EDS, but it worked well enough for me to be born. But I was a difficult pregnancy, and I almost killed my mom. It was a very traumatic birth. I almost killed us both with my size and how I was lodged backwards inside my mom. And I was overdue and overcooked. And yet my spine was still jacked up. And that's why I turned breech, and I wasn't ready to come out because my spinal cord was still trying to develop. And so I was really past due. And that's probably why my mom didn't break the water. And everything was fine until I decided to become overdue. I changed positions, and I couldn't move my neck because I was lodged underneath my mom's rib cage, my neck and head back like this. And that is why my spinal cord, I got spina bifida occulta when I was born. I had the signs and the symptoms, and then I had the signs and symptoms of tethered cord as a child, but they blamed it on my kidney issues. But the kidney issues were probably related talk about medical stuff, and here I am doing nothing but talk about medical stuff, but talking about the genetics of what I was born under, and this is why I messed up the way I am, and I'm a complicated patient now, because I decided to accelerate my aging process by joining the military, with all these genetic issues I didn't even know existed, and none of my family have been diagnosed either. And none of them really know how to get diagnosed or deal with it. His mom's, or my dad's side, all my aunts, like the one I'm about to go visit, she's got a lot of problems. She's got, she was one of the very first babies that my dad's youngest sister, the one I'm visiting now, was born with junior rheumatoid arthritis. She was one of the very first documented cases in the United States, and they experimented on my Aunt Stacy. I'm visiting her shortly. And she has struggled. She has struggled with a lot of health issues her entire life. She was crying as a baby because she was having arthritis as a baby. It's absolutely crazy that they experimented on my aunt when she was a baby. They injected gold into her. Like, my Aunt Stacy's special. She was experimented on because, yeah, that was never really seen before. And so, as much as I love my Aunt Stacy, and I've tried to, like, give her the information she needs to, she doesn't have the doctors, and she doesn't have the doctor support that she needs to even go after that. And she's so preoccupied with stillbirthing. This woman is outstanding for having worked her entire life, even with this disease and all these medical issues, and then, you know, she's had some issues with falling and hurting herself, and so she's had to have surgery, and she has many other surgeries still because she really messed herself up with her fall, unfortunately. Not too long ago. She's going to be going back in for surgery pretty soon, but I love my Aunt Stacy. Family is family, and I don't mind hanging out with her. My mom gets annoyed by my dad's sisters so easily, but like I said, she gets annoyed, and she has mental health things too. And I'm quite the weird child that came out between all these weird genetics. Like I've always said, I tried to, was that whole identity thing became a thing and a trend, and, you know, trying to identify as something or other. I identify as an alien. And I've said it in videos before, but if you're a new subscriber, you probably haven't seen all my videos and watched them all. So, a lot of this is repeat information I've talked about before in other videos. However, it's been a while, and I don't know if I've talked about it in depth like this, so if you are a new subscriber or new to my channel, welcome. Here's another update on how I am to be the way I am, and just a short list of the medical diagnoses I talked about at a time. But I totally understand genetics now because of what I've experienced and what I've learned about what all my aunts and uncles have and what they've dealt with and the treatment that helped them. And, you know, I try to use that as a guidebook, as like where to start for myself. And, but also just, yeah, having your family's medical history is huge. It's huge. It can give you clues. They're just little clues split, split in half, really. It duplicated itself. So, we just have different dads. So it's interesting to see their health issues form from our mom's side with all our aunt's issues and uncle's issues. And then seeing all my cousins on my mom's side. All of them dealing with way more stuff than our parents. All of us, me and my cousins, all of us are dealing with a lot more health issues younger than our parents had. And it's definitely me too, because of the military experience. But one of my cousins tried to join the military, and so she got partially vaccinated, and she's worse than I am. Her dad's DNA has some crappy DNA too, I guess. I have to go to the other part of Albany here. I used to live in Albany too, so I kind of know the roads a little bit. I still don't like the roads though. The roads are like wonky in this town. Albany, Oregon has wonky roads. If any of y'all visit Oregon, Albany, Oregon has some messed up roads. And you gotta be in the right lane or you're gonna be jacked. Jacked with not being able to get turned around right away in certain spots. Same within my small town though, like in the small town I live in. Yeah, sometimes I like to turn like a U-turn in the middle of the road. And it's usually late at night when I do that kind of stuff when there's no traffic and I can see headlights as long as they have them on. Luckily, most cars have daytime running lights and headlights, these days. So it's harder to get a ticket for no headlights on, which I got many times before when I was a teenager, because my headlights were so dim. So I always thought my headlights were already on. Oops, I forgot I was in park. Oops. Making sure my phone don't slide out my dash when I turn this corner. All right. Even though this added 0.4 miles to my drive, it doesn't matter. I wish I could just jump down to Dallas too to go see my other buddy. But I didn't bring the stuff that I was going to give to him. Man, I'm already partially down here too, and it's the weekend, and I could totally gone down there to go hang out. Man, that sucks. My gaming buddy, a journalist friend. Passing up games with my buddy today and this afternoon, so he has a game without me. Yeah. Really? You made me go back to Pacific Boulevard? I'm trying to avoid Pacific. I thought I could go further down that way. My GPS rerouted me back to the other road again. But at least it's less busy anyways, at least through where I drove through the section, so whatever. I just dealt with less traffic now. I added 0.4 miles to my drive, whatever. But I'm excited for that hot tub. I can't wait to get in the hot tub and just relax with my Aunt Stacy and BS for a little while, and then come home and heat up some shepherd's pie, because my parents are making shepherd's pie for dinner. I told my dad, I'm like, dude, don't forget to use the fresh corn I just bought. Cut it off the cob. And so the corn festival I went to today happens every year. It was the 56th year in a row. They took a couple year break because of COVID stuff. But it was like the 56th year of the corn festival in Amsville today. I had a parade and they had like a breakfast at the fire station and all that kind of stuff. Amsville is a very other small town, kind of close to where I live. And so I met my aunt and two of my aunts and my uncle were there. And I've been to this house a couple times, but I never remember because these roads roads are screwy in Albany, Oregon. If you want to drive through here, I'm sorry. try to go around it if you can. They're trying to go through it to the other side of some of the other highways. This lane ends in front of me. I'm gonna have to race in front of this other person to pass them to get in front of them. We'll see who's gonna jump the gun here. Oh, is it gonna be green? Ah, son of a gun, they got me. That's okay. I'll get behind him. Anywho, I haven't seen any lightning, thankfully. But I want that hot tub. I want to get in that hot tub and relax and just catch up. Let my Aunt Stacy know what's going on with me. Let me follow up on what's going on medically with her. And she talks to all her other sisters, so I can get all the gossip from her anyway, without even having to talk to my other aunts. What else? My Aunt Larry probably thinks that my Aunt Stacy ditched her for me, because she kind of did. But we did hang out with her and her husband for a little bit, so I mean, it's not like we ignored her. But me and my Aunt Stacy went to take a break and go sit in my air conditioning in my car because it got a little too hot. And her and I are so flippin' slow. Almost everybody on my dad's side of the family, this is why I say where they're on the spectrum. Time management. They are the worst at time management, and I think it's because of being Neurospicy. That is the clue right there. And I'm going to tell my Aunt Stacy that today. I'm like, that's the clue. I'm going to tell you why. I say that we're all on the spectrum just a little bit. I am on the spectrum more. It's more concentrated in me and in my nephew. My nephew's even more on the spectrum. And he doesn't even like to say that he's on the spectrum. He still refers to it as Asperger's. Because there's a stigma, and he knows it. But he doesn't care to know much about the medical stuff either. And I tried telling him, don't do high impact activity. You're going to regret it. He was telling me he was doing some running recently. I'm like, don't do it, man. That's how I got messed up. And that kid had to have braces on his ankles and stuff when he was a kid. And he had a little bit of sign of the concave test of what Marfan syndrome does. So it's even, the genetics are even stronger in him than they are in me. But I have the women's health issues, and my nephew is a lot younger. He's only 22. So it's going to be interesting to see if anything manifests in him later in life. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to live to see it too, dang it. I'm going to live till I'm 100. I'm going to live till I'm 100. I got another mile and a half to go. So, anyways, I'm going to get off of here, get off my soapbox, and, yeah, get off my soapbox and, continue on. It is what it is. That's what the other good news, guys, let me share it real fast before I get off here. I'm about to end up at my destination as well, so. Oh man, there's a lot of water on the road. We can start hydroplaning here. Gotta be safe. Gotta turn. So, the good news is next Saturday I have an online free admission ticket to what? For patient advocacy for immune system things. I can't wait for it's one of the other like foundations or something that's doing it for, it's like a free information seminar, but you know, it's like half of a day, and it can be done through Zoom. So I'm super excited that I'm going to be learning more patient advocacy. I'm going to learn more about who I need to talk to and go to. Unfortunately, it's going to be a day after I see my VA doctor. I wished it was before. my freaking VA doctor appointment. But I'm going to try and do mostly all telephone appointments after my initial introductory appointment with my doctor face-to-face. I'm going to be doing phone appointments the rest of the time because it's way too far to drive. It's 5.5 hour drive to my doctor. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that regularly. No. Sorry. I did that enough when I lived in Walla Walla. I had to see doctors in Portland. I'm going to do telephone appointments, and the VA is going to pay for it, and then they're going to pay for me to fly to Rhode Island and visit my other doctor in the community because I'm just too complicated. But that's okay. It is what it is. I accept it. I just got to make sure to reassure my doctor, my other primary care doctor through Medicare after I may be changing doctors. It also depends on what insurance I decide to go with next year. Open enrollment starts soon, so I really got to start looking over insurance plans and talking to a Medicare specialist because I need help understanding this crap. I don't understand. So, it is what it is, and I'm at my destination. Hot tub time in the middle of the rain. It's pouring down rain, and I'm going to be in a nice warm hot tub. I used to get in the hot tub all the time in the rain and in the snow. It didn't bother me any, except for getting out. Yeah, it's cold. So, anyway, I'm here, guys. I'm going to go spend some time with my family that I haven't seen in a while, and I'm going to enjoy that hot tub. Woo-wee! While I upload today's video. And yeah, see, I'm wearing my weed stuff. I'm going to give my Aunt Stacy this to match her color changing cup. And you'll be like, look, this is going to be a memory now. I'm bringing this memory into you with our matching cups to our bracelets. No, ice is melted. I just have straight up freaking sugar. My body sure could use some sugar right now. Sugar, sugar. Honey, honey. Okay. Alright, bye guys. Peace out.